What if I told you that one of the most detailed blueprints of the future ever written was not created by modern analysts, not by governments, not by scientists, but by a Jewish exile over 2,500 years ago? What if I told you that parts of that blueprint are still waiting to unfold right now? The book of Daniel does not shout. It does not speculate. It records visions, sealed, preserved, and passed down for a specific moment in history. Daniel himself was told, "Seal the words until the time of the end." That alone should stop us, because sealed words imply an appointed time to be opened. Today, we are uncovering 4 prophecies from Daniel that remain unfulfilled, not as wild guesses, not as imagination, but as carefully documented patterns that appear to be aligning before our eyes. And once you see them together, you may never look at the world the same way again. Let's begin where Daniel begins, with a dream that shook an empire. In Daniel chapter 2, King Nebuchadnezzar dreams of a massive statue towering over the earth. Its head, of gold. Its chest, of silver. Its belly, of bronze. Its legs, of iron. And its feet, iron, mixed with clay. Then something unexpected happens. A stone, not cut by human hands, strikes the statue. At its weakest point, the entire structure collapses. And that stone becomes a mountain that fills the whole earth. Daniel explains plainly. These metals represent successive world empires. History confirms this with unnerving accuracy. Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome. But the final phase, the divided feet of iron and clay, is different. Fast forward to our modern world. In the early 2020s, we watched unprecedented global coordination, economic systems intertwined, political blocs expanding, national sovereignty weakening, under shared structure. But what makes this prophetic is not cooperation alone. It's the form of it. Daniel later sees this same kingdom in chapter 7, not as a statue, but as a terrifying beast, with 10 horns, 10 kings, 10 powers, and from among them, one rises, different, dominant. This aligns with a future global power structure, fractured, yet unified, strong, yet brittle. And Daniel says it will exist right before God's eternal kingdom replaces all human rule. Notice the precision. Not vague symbolism, but structure, sequence, timing. And that structure leads directly into the next prophecy. A countdown. In Daniel chapter 9, Daniel prays for Jerusalem. In response, he is given a timeline, known as the 70 weeks. These weeks are not days, they're years. 69 of those weeks lead directly to the arrival of the Messiah. History aligns this with the time of Jesus' ministry with remarkable accuracy. But then, the timeline pauses. One final week remains. 7 years. Daniel writes that during this final week, a covenant will be confirmed with many, centered on Israel. But halfway through, the covenant is broken. Sacrifice is stopped. And something called the abomination that causes desolation appears. Now, pay attention. In September of 2020, the Abraham Accords were signed. Historic peace agreements involving Israel and surrounding nations. For the first time in decades, peace was openly negotiated on a global stage. This was not the fulfillment, but it mirrors the pattern. Daniel's final week includes peace, followed by betrayal. Jesus himself later referenced this prophecy, warning that when this abomination appears, unprecedented trouble will follow. And that trouble spills directly into Daniel chapter 11. Most of Daniel 11 maps ancient history in stunning detail. Conflicts between Greek kingdoms, Seleucid, and Ptolemaic. But at verse 36, the language changes. The ruler described here does what no ancient king fully did. He exalts himself above every god. He controls wealth and power. He invades the beautiful land, a biblical term for Israel, and the conflict expands. Now consider the modern Middle East. Since 2011, the region has remained in near constant instability. Syria, Iran, Israel, Russia, Egypt. Global powers intersecting over a single geographic corridor. But what makes this prophetic is not chaos. It's convergence. Daniel describes a final geopolitical struggle centered on Israel, involving northern and southern powers, climaxing in a sudden end for this ruler, with no one to help him. And then everything shifts. Daniel chapter 12 opens not with politics, but with eternity. There shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation. This is not localized suffering, not symbolic language. Daniel is shown a moment unmatched in human history. Michael, the great prince, arises. Divine intervention breaks into human affairs. And then Daniel records something revolutionary for the ancient world. Many who sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, others to shame and everlasting contempt. This is resurrection, not metaphor, not myth, a literal awakening. Daniel is given specific day counts: 1,290 days, 1,335 days. But he is told he will not fully understand them. Why? Because these words were sealed for another time, for prophecies. One unfolding narrative. A final global system rises. A covenant is confirmed and broken. Conflict erupts around Jerusalem, and God intervenes decisively. Daniel was not predicting fear. He was recording certainty. Empires rise. Empires fall. But the Most High remains. And the final word in Daniel is not destruction. It is resurrection. So the question isn't whether these prophecies matter. The question is, are we paying attention? Because sealed words do not stay sealed forever. They are opened right on time.